Encounter.
Good knowledge.
It feels very
Hello and welcome to the Unwanted Opinion Podcast, the show in which me and my friends give our unwanted opinions on all things film. My name is Lewis and I'm joined today with Kyle.
Hello. How are we doing?
Good. It's been a nice weekend. The sun is finally shining here in Glasgow. It rained for like 5 days in a row this week.
Same with us, and then absolutely boiling, and I don't get to appreciate any of it, so I love that for me.
Yes, I know.
But yeah, lovely
You're
day.
a busy man. Lovely day, and you spent it in a cinema as well.
I did spend part of it in the cinema, yeah, which was a nice break, to be fair, because it's actually quite air conditioned in there.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that brings us to our topic of today, which is, of course, Pixar's Toy Story 5. Yes, somehow we have reached Toy Story 5 since the beginning of this franchise, 31 years ago in 1995. And as these things go, we're going to give a full spoiler-free review and give our scores at the end of that. And then after we do that, we'll go into spoilers for Toy Story 5. So everything will be time-coded below. And if you haven't seen the film yet, you just want to know our thoughts, then this first half is for you. But Kyle, let's jump right in. So,
Yeah.
It's been 7 years since Toy Story 4, if I'm correct. That was 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
That's mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that crazy year. I remember that crazy summer where Disney just made incredible amounts of money because they had they had The Lion King, they had Avengers Endgame.
Before, yeah.
So it was just a ridiculous summer for Disney, and that was part of that lineup. But yeah, and that's even back then. That was sort of we really believe Toy Story 3 was the conclusion. They'd never return to this franchise.
Yeah,
and then 9 years after that, 2019, they did return to that franchise. And then I remember at the time we talked about that. It was it felt like an epilogue. It felt like the ending. Of
we did
story.
talk about It was very much the epilogue, and everybody there also. So I remember there being interviews with Tom Hanks saying this is it. This is the this is the kind of the final chapter in the story, and it really did feel like it.
Yeah, but
the issue was it made so much
of course,
money.
That's always the issue.
Yeah,
it's always the issue for Disney, for most of their projects. But yeah, so we're here at Toy Story 5, and we'll sort of the plot kind of revolves. We're going to have to go a little bit of spoilers for Toy Story 4. So if you haven't seen that, then however the marketing spoils kind of the ending of that film anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. If you've seen a poster for Toy Story 5,
it's a known point.
You know who's back. But yeah, so Woody has sort of left the toys behind, and they have remained with Bonnie. She's now 8 years old, and she is feeling and she can't really connect with the kids in her neighborhood or other kids outside, because she's still playing with toys, and all the other toys don't seem to understand why does no one want to play with Bonnie. However, there is this sort of insidious threat that seems to have taken over all the kids in the neighborhood and elsewhere, and that tech has taken over. All kids are really obsessed with their iPads and their iPhones or whatever that may be, and that's really hammered home in the first act that toys are being left behind and it's all about tech. However, Bonnie's different. Bonnie still plays with her toys. However, because her parents are worried about her and worried about her making friends, they think the best way to do that is to sort of jump in with everybody else and what other parents are doing and get her involved with tech, get her a thing called a lily pad, which is voiced by Greta Lee, and hopefully she'll be able to make friends through the technology. And that is sort of where does that leave the toys in this story and how will that affect Bonnie in the future. So yeah, that's the setup for Toy Story 5. So Kyle, you're fresh at the cinema seeing this. What are your overall thoughts of Toy Story 5? So
I quite enjoyed it. I have to say that I think I was with you that I was like when Toy Story 4 got announced, I was like, we don't need this, but I won't complain. And then when we saw Toy Story 4, and I was like, right, that's surely the end.
That has to be the ending.
And then Toy Story 5 got announced, and I was like, oh, here we go. However, when more and more information came out about Toy Story 5, the more and more I was kind of like, this is the film I kind of wanted over 4, where I was more interested in the idea of them dealing with the fact that, tablets have become a thing. And, and it's insane to think about it because literally in my own experience, I have a niece who's about 4. She can work an iPad better than I can, and she's so natural with it. And, I don't see her much playing with toys. It's like here's the iPad, play Angry Birds or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, this hits home. I'm intrigued about this, and it's definitely something I was happy that they're going to do. And
Yep.
I mean, what we get, it's maybe not as it's deep actually. No, to be fair, there are some moments where it kind of hits home in the social media side of things, which I found quite interesting, given the fact that obviously here in the UK it was announced recently that social media is going to be banned for under 16s. So I thought that there's a scene in it, I won't go too much, but social media, it is showing the social media impact that it can have on individuals' feelings, and I was quite touched by that. But yeah, overall, I mean, I won't complain seeing these toys again. I am liking it is an evolution. It's not, I was going to say your granddad's, but it's technically our generation. It's not our Toy Story,
No.
It's not focusing deeply on that core group of characters that you may have got in Toy Story 1 or 2.
Yeah.
From 3, really, they started introducing kind of new characters within 4. And then here again, in fact, there's some toys I'm like, I remember you guys, I kind of remember you, don't remember you. And I'm like, I know there's this kind of growing universe, and I appreciate that it's now becoming more this generation's Toy Story than it was ours. But yeah, like I had a fun time with it, man.
Good.
Visually, you can't complain. Like I was like, it's
a $250 million animated film.
Yeah,
like,
I was really hoping you would complain. Yeah, overall, I thought it was quite fun. I definitely feel like, and it's weird because I came out and I was like, I remember Toy Story 3 feeling like this almost epic. It's a weird description because I mean, you do have that really dramatic, they're all about the burn and die scene.
Yes.
But even over just as a film, it felt of a more dramatic story. Well, this one felt more akin to maybe the first or the second, where it was almost like a smaller, quite self-contained story. Like, when you follow the plot lines, it's very much she gets an iPad, what's going to happen, and there's other stuff along the way, but that can maybe get into more spoiler territory. And I don't want to go into. But I really liked also the fact that Jessie was the lead of this film. I actually found that quite fresh.
It is Jessie's story, really.
It really is.
And
I mean, I heard that going into it, and I was kind of like, you know what? I think that's good. I do think it's time that maybe Buzz and Woody take a kind of side character. And
Woody takes more of a side
Woody
step
takes
than Buzz.
Woody definitely takes a more of a side character than Buzz. But I feel the only reason they brought Woody back was because they needed somebody for Buzz to interact with. And that's really the only reason for it. And I'm glad because it's funny that they just go back to their old bickering ways, and I'm like, I just like seeing that. Like, that's just my childhood, is seeing these two characters bicker. But I really like Joan Cusack.
Yes,
I believe,
Joan Cusack
plays Jessie. Who, to be fair, I completely had no idea it was her. I know that actress for
sure. This is 1999.
Yeah, but like I've known. But the thing is, I've known who voices her, but I've never actually attributed her to the live action actor who I've seen on like Shameless or
School of Rock.
or School of Rock or stuff like that. And I was like, oh my god, it's her. I overall I really enjoyed it. It's not the strongest, however, I don't feel it's the weakest Toy Story out there. But saying that, it's Toy Story. The weakest one is still quite enjoyable. It's really hard when you get a good franchise. It's not like a Fast and Furious where you can really put some down below and some up. But yeah, what about you? What did you feel about it? You saw day before yesterday.
I had a good time as well. I do think it's the weakest Toy Story.
Oh, okay.
However, that's not an insult.
No.
That's not me saying this is a bad film by any stretch of the imagination. No, but I really liked it as well. Like I say, I really liked the fact it was focused on Jessie. I think there's a huge emotional point in the film that relies on a lot of Jessie's backstory. I really I agree. I think that its heart isn't really in the right place. It has a really good message. About tech and especially like how involved should your children be in that stuff as well. And yeah, it definitely got a good few laughs out of me and Lisa as well watching it. And like you, the animation is fantastic too.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, it goes along at a really good pace. Like it doesn't feel long at all. So it's a really good family film to go see in the cinema.
And,
absolutely.
I mean, again, and what Pixar I always feel do right is, and obviously I was in a pretty packed screening. You know, huge family
Mine was
audience
sold
there.
out too. Mine was sold out too.
And I was like, I love a Pixar film where there's two types of laughter, because there's the jokes that the kids get, and then there's the jokes the adults get. Because there's a brilliant joke about Zoom and somebody being on mute and not realizing it, and that hit home. That hit home. There was definitely a bunch of kind of corporate people in that cinema that were laughing their hearts out when it's like, you're on mute, Dave. It's like, I love that about Pixar, because they really do make these films with the idea that parents are going to go and see them as well.
Yeah,
so absolutely. They have to sprinkle that stuff in.
Yeah. I would only say, I think for me, I think that for me it starts off a bit rough. I think
it's a bit slow, I would say, at the start.
I think it's completely opposite. I think it jumps in way too quickly.
Really?
Like, for me, it goes just like immediately, oh, what's wrong with Bonnie? And it's like, oh, what's happened here? And then the toys go, oh, Tech's taken over. And then it's like, oh god, Tech's the issue. And then I was thinking back to like Toy Story 1. Toy Story 1's a much shorter film than this. Toy Story 1 is like under an hour and a half. And the way they build up to Buzz being introduced in the film is really well paced. Like, it's really, okay, what's happening at Andy's birthday? What could the soldiers see? They can't really tell. And then slowly over time you get drip fed this information. It's, oh my god, you're left in suspense until Andy runs up, drops the thing off, and then once again the slow like build up of the Buzz being revealed. Whereas this film, it was just like they're playing with Bonnie in the garden, and then wait to get these two kids to play with her, and then they go and see like what the issue is, and then it's like Tech's taking over, and it was just a bit really heavy handed. For me, but then I think the film finds its groove after like the first 20 minutes. It does feel like there's a lot going on as well. You know, there's like 3 different kind of plots happening simultaneously that have to converge.
We'll need to talk about the other plot that I don't want to go into, because I, for a long time, believed that was the villain, because I'm pretty sure that was announced as the villain a way back. But I think wait, we'll talk about that in spoilers.
I'm actually unsure what you're talking about.
Right, I'll
with one of the plots. But yeah, I felt there was kind of a lot going on until, you know, everything kind of converges. Not that it's hard to follow. I wasn't lost in the Toy Story film. I just felt like there was just like lots of stuff happening that kind of needed a bit more focus. But apart from that, like I say, when the emotional stuff hits, it really hits, and we'll really delve into like the social media stuff and the spoilers too, and the stuff with Jessie. But yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a great family film. I had a good time watching it. I'd happily watch it again. And it's the best Pixar film I've seen in cinemas since I don't know, what was the last big Pixar film I saw in cinemas? I saw Inside Out 2, but this is much better than Inside Out 2, trust me.
It
was much better than that film.
It is a lot better than Inside Out 2.
I didn't see Hoppers, sadly. I missed that one. So
was Hoppers a Pixar?
Hoppers was
Pixar. Right, okay, yeah. I really enjoyed it. I was a bit like, you know, we're getting another Toy Story, great. You know, that's you know, I'm always a bit like apprehensive about, is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and for me, I know we discussed it, I do put this above 4, purely because it felt the story was good. I liked how the Jessie's story and how her kind of fear of being left again, you know, because technically she's been left twice now, with Emily and then with Andy, and then, you know, Toy Story 4, 5. See if they flipped them around and like the plot for Toy Story 5 was the plot for Toy Story 4, the plot for Toy Story 4 was 5. I was like, yeah, cool, end it on that, and then that's fantastic.
It's a bit the wrong way around, don't you mean?
But
I think Toy Story 4 hits me harder than Toy Story 5. No, I'm saying this film doesn't have like I'm saying, it does have pretty strong emotional beats, really good ones at that, which I was like, wow, that was clever, that was really good. I think Toy Story 4 is perhaps even kind of underrated. I think people just kind of like saw Toy Story 4 once and then kind of forgot about it.
Yeah,
But
I would say,
will
like, I don't know why for me, but I think that, like, I can definitely feel like in 5 years' time or six, whenever, like, start having children, that I will appreciate the story of this film more. And I really like the moments of the parents where it's at the start contemplating, do we get this, do we not, like, you know, they know it's almost like a double-edged sword.
Yes,
and
they do.
There's a moment later on where I felt quite, I was like, yeah, this is what I was expecting when they kind of were like, we're gonna have tablets be involved. But let's maybe get the kind of scores out of the way, and we can maybe move into a bit of spoiler territory.
Alright, so Kyle, what are you giving it?
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Like I said, I think it's a really solid animated film in general. Like, you know, it's it's incredible children's film. I think it would be the best one of this year. No offense to Monsters and Minions or Minions and Monsters.
You think this is already winning best animated film at the Oscars then?
It's going to, because even like, surely the fact that I'm thinking, if parents are taking their kids to see it, they want to see something that they've maybe seen as a kid. You know, they didn't grow up with Despicable Me, but they grew up with this. But yeah, I'd say it's a really solid 8 out of 10. Like I said, not the best in the franchise, but for me, not the worst. What about you?
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Just one lower than you. Like I say, it's a good time. I think it's just a bit messy in places. Bit heavy-handed at the start. Yeah, it's just a little bit more focus in certain areas. And but yeah, I think it's a solid family film. I think everyone will have a good time. I mean, I feel like I was the one laughing the most in my theater, weirdly enough. I mean, I saw like 8 o'clock at night, so there was very few kids there actually.
Right. There was a lot of. I was like a 1 p.m. showing, so there was a lot of laughter.
I was like, I don't want to see this during the daytime because I kind of knew there would be a lot of kids and families.
To be fair, that's true, but then I also like to gauge if the target audience is you know enjoying it as much as they said, and like I said to you, that genuinely when my showing ended, it was about an 8-minute standing ovation from some people.
Yeah, I know.
Like these kids were absolutely hyper on whatever sugary sweets they had. It was like Cannes Film Festival. They're like, yeah.
I will say this as well before we go to spoilers. Right, usually at the end of a film, when the credits roll and the lights come up, you know, everyone kind of checks their phones and stuff and see the messages they got. No one got their phone out at the end of this film. I think everyone felt like, I can't look at my phone because I've been told not to. How many
parents are going to take their child home and go, you're going to play with this toy?
It's like, no iPad anymore.
No iPad anymore.
You know, babe, I hope that's the positive effect of this
I
film,
hope it,
to be fair.
Anyway, spoilers.
Let's do spoilers, right? So now if you've not seen...
sorry, if you've not seen it, you know, stop. I want to go into something that I believe. Now, I genuinely am trying to find this because so far long ago, I swear to God, the villain was announced as these Buzz Lightyear toys.
Right, okay, is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Right, and I didn't know this.
I'm genuinely being serious that so long ago, it was like, you know, it's going to be like Buzz Lightyear toys that are stuck on demo mode that are like the villains because they think they're not toys and they're like...
I feel like that's too much of a retread of the first film, so I'm quite glad they didn't do that.
It kind of is, but then like I also kind of feel like they've clearly done enough with it that they kind of had to put them in the film because they felt so utterly pointless. They were only there for that final drone reveal, which I did find funny, to be fair.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing, because obviously it opens with them on the island, and initially I could feel everyone side being like, what is this? This is so weird. And then obviously you cut away from it after they find the star, and then they cut back to, so you know it's building to something. They are going to be involved in the story at some point. And I kind of liked some of their stuff was quite funny, like them at the campsite, and then
Star,
you know, one of them
like,
understanding that they feel great when, you know, like kids are playing with them, you know, and the one is hugging them in the tent, and he's like, nah, it's fine, you can leave me. So like that one kind of understood its purpose, and then the other ones eventually got told what they're supposed to do by our Buzz. I kind of like that touch as well. For some reason, I just didn't realize like they had a different chest plate than our Buzz, because they're
what?
more modern, not
How
more.
did you not?
I was just like, yeah, there's a bunch of buzzes, and then obviously when
Yeah.
our buzz is with them, I'm like, oh right, yeah, they are.
Yeah,
They're
no,
a
I think
different model.
because it's like
Yeah.
it was almost like they were a hive mind at one point because they spent a lot of time
Yeah.
making it obvious that they're all Britting up at the same point,
Yeah.
which I can't believe you didn't realize.
I mean, when our buzz was with them, I was like, oh yeah, those are different. Those are like more modern buzzes.
yeah.
And then of course they end up being like Wi-Fi hotspots and drones and
Yeah,
stuff as well.
which was pretty funny to be fair. I quite liked it when they turned into drones, because I was like, we're gonna get it's not falling, we're flying with style, or it's not flying, we're falling with style.
Yeah, and then they said we're flying with style.
Yeah,
So
I have to say, so
anything.
one thing I quite liked. Now, obviously, with every Toy Story, you get your customary new toys, and so obviously, Jessie, so Bonnie gets invited to a sleepover via lily pads, making friends
Yes.
on the pad,
Yes.
and Jessie's a bit like, how do we know these are proper friends? How do we know this and that? And she decides to go, but somehow, falls out, and obviously an elderly couple pick her up and see the address in her inside her leg that says Emily, her original owner.
Yeah, the old owner.
So she gets put back into the house. Obviously, it's a new family. Emily's not there, and Jessie's kind of stuck there and has to make her way back, and ends up getting help from some early generation tech toys, which I quite liked.
Yes,
I liked it how it was like
very
weird
2000s. Toys.
Yeah, and it's like we're like the first gen of what the tech was, and they didn't understand what being played was. It was like one of them was like, well, I got a few photos at Disneyland, and I was like, plug the company there, and I was like, that was Bob Iger's final thing, was that we're gonna name drop Disneyland in Toy Story 5, and I quite liked that. I liked Jessie kind of realizing these guys don't know what play really is, and
yes,
and stuff like that, and yeah, I found these new characters are quite fresh. More so than I really didn't like the new toys that were brought in Toy Story 4, like the Keel and Peele's ones, and Duke Kaboom is actually the only cool one, but that's just because it's Keanu Reeves. And I found I kind of liked these characters more. I found them funny and a wee bit just there was obviously a bit of poop humor because one of them's
yes, the poop humor actually was funny.
Yeah, it wasn't. It didn't annoy
works.
me as bad. I was like, oh, here we go. It's gonna be like this and that. And I really enjoyed it. And yeah, what were you think, kind of looking into the kind of more spoiler end of this film?
Yeah, I mean, the two like emotional beats that like really got me was one, the social media thing, which you kind of brought up earlier, because obviously they're trying to get. The toys are trying to find Jessie, and there's like, they don't know what Lilypad has apparently done to her. Yeah. And so they eventually, then Jessie managed to like get Snappy to get a picture taken and then share that with a bunch of the other Lilypads, and then what happens is Bonnie's so-called friends see that she's apparently shared this image of Jessie and Bullseye and been like looking for her toys, and then they like bully her in the chat and make fun of her. Yeah. And I think obviously the timing of that, it's a really well narratively structured scene where she gets that reveal as she's going over to Blaze's house to get her toys back. And then of course she gets the messages that hits her emotionally, and then she says no, you can keep them, and then of course breaking Jessie's heart at the same time, putting Buzz and Woody in a state of confusion as well. But I think that really got me as well is the actual, and this is big kudos to the writers, right? Because it's something so simple. Andrew Stanton and McKenna Harris, right? He also directed the film. Yeah. The dialogue in the iPad's chat, right, feels so real. Yeah. As that is how kids would type to each other. Yeah. And it's very hard for an adult to write as a child. And I just thought it was very simple. There wasn't much writing, and then just the responses were like, gifs of like babies crying and stuff. Yeah. But the chain of the chat, I was like, that feels really eerily real. And then obviously seeing the effect on Bonnie was like, oh my god, this is horrible.
That's the thing. It's the effect, and then it's for me also. It's the scene the mum kind of, she's confused because she doesn't understand what's happening, and then she sees it, and then she's obviously very, upset for her child, and it's like, this thing was, good, but then bad, and it's a whole kind of roundabout thing, and I really liked it, the fact that with Jessie kind of realizing that, it's the classic kind of overcoming at the end where she's like, Lilypad can help here. This could, Lilypad can help us get to Jessie. I have to admit, I quite liked, which is just very minor, but it was just funny for me, is that for all the older tech toys to do this, you had to be wired into each other. Which I just found quite funny. I just thought that was an extra little bit.
And it was like animate. There were clearly like micro USBs as well.
Yeah.
Like,
they were
cables,
like
and I'm like,
USB-Cs.
that's nice.
They were like,
none of that.
I quite like that. That was a fun little bit of just little attention to detail. But yeah, it was like, because obviously Blaze also kind of gets a bit of a backstory in the sense that she's like really excited for her friend to come over, which is kind of giving us the idea that she likes more practical friendship. She has a horse. She's a lot more seems more of a practical friend, and then she kind of gets shut down, and she's a bit like, oh, maybe this Bonnie girl will play, and then Bonnie's like hesitant because she sees this messages, so she then chooses that she can't react the way she wants, she can't express her feelings, takes it away, and then the toys obviously play matchmaker. It's kind of like Parent Trap, where they're trying to put these
it is. I mean, you know where the plot's going,
where it's going, and I'm just kind of going, and it's honestly, so the final bit where Blaze arrives with Jessie and Bullseye to Bonnie, and starts kind of cracking up, and then Bonnie's a bit hesitant. She starts walking away. I'm literally gripping my Bonnie, just go! Like, come on, this is your friend. I was like, I was at the stage where I was like, oh, this is getting to me. I was like, and then she does, and then they become friends, and I found that really nice. And then what I kind of liked at the end, and one of the things I thought was quite clever with how the writers did it and how they integrated the use of Lilypad. So one of the things they did this time, which I quite liked, instead of in the previous films, whenever there was quote unquote playtime, it was very animated, and it was very set up a scene. This had a different sort of animation where it was more of a drawing.
It was in the head of
there was a slightly different animation to it, and I really liked that, and I found that quite
that was good,
nice and distinctive. And so there's this whole subplot where Buzz wants to marry Jessie. Apart from that, was part of that aside, it doesn't really mean anything.
It's weird,
and but it is their wedding, and the kilt got the biggest laugh.
The kilt was great.
The kilt got a huge laugh in my cinema, which I thought was
he rocks it well.
Yeah, and it was the use of when they're playing, they're using Lilypad as the music, and they're using them to play the organ or something like that. And I really like that, because it's obviously the writer showing that these tools can be used in physical playtime. They can help actually set a scene, an environment, or something like that. And I was kind of like, that's good, because I didn't know if they were going to just completely dismiss the tablets by the end of it and go, they're not useful. And I liked it, and I was like, it was just a wee tidbit for me that I was kind of like, that's the writers kind of showing them that there's a best of both worlds here, where she could use it. You can also use it as maybe to set backgrounds, something like that. But then the last bit was when Bonnie and Blaze were playing outside. The twins that are mentioned earlier, who were very dismissive of playing Bonnie. It's almost like it's essentially like a herd mentality, where if they see one doing it, they're a bit like, nah, that's not cool. But they see more people doing it, they're like, oh, can we join?
Like,
you know, and that's the thing. I think that's the best little sub message I got from this, is that the more people do it, everybody will do it. It's the fact now that more people are seeing so many kids on tablets. That's why they're going, there you go.
I
but
need to
the
feel
message,
involved.
The message is showing that if we get more people doing it, if it's that, herd, and we get everybody going, we then will kind of tip the scales. I just. There was definitely some moments where the heartstrings were definitely tugged a bit with the social media aspect.
And Speaking of heartstrings being tugged, talk about Jesse and the tire swing tree.
Oh,
Um,
I was a bit like, so obviously because they showed Emily for the first time in this, right?
Yeah,
And
that's near the very, very beginning of the film.
Yeah, and that's purely because they didn't have the budget for it in the second film.
No, they were really bad at animating humans.
It was really
as well.
hard to animate adults, and if you see the first Toy Story, Andy's friends are just him copy and pasted.
Yeah,
and you never really see the mum from the head up or anything like that, right?
No.
So the only reason they didn't do it in Toy Story 2 is because it was too expensive. And I had wondered, I was like, will we get an Emily reveal or something like that? And especially when we got to the house. But I feel what they did was even better. Where she's under the tire swing and sees the words "Jessie was here" carved into the tree.
Yeah.
And she does a thing, but I wasn't, and I was like, oh, I don't know why I laughed at that. I was like, well, no. I was like, well done. But
that's like here. Madam Web. What is it, Madam Web? Where it's like, but I don't have that illness or something.
It's something like that. That's maybe what I got it from. And she sees something there, and she uses her new horse friend. There's a great horse scene later after that. I actually
the horse scene is very funny.
And she digs up what is that, essentially like a time capsule lunchbox.
Yeah, it's like an old tinned lunchbox.
And she finds out that Emily had a daughter, and she named that daughter Jessie. Yeah. So showing that Jessie never really was away from Emily's life, which was so.
Yeah, because I actually really, because when Jessie has that sort of speech where she's like, I'm sick of, the kids growing up and then like I never mattered, like I feel like I never mattered, I'm just there for their childhood and then that's it, and then they don't think about me ever again. Because I was like, this is like what I could understand, like the life of a toy must be hard, man. Like their purpose is to give a kid joy and indulge in play, and then once that's over there's nothing left for them to do. That was sort of the whole Woody's story in number 4, when he literally says there's nothing left for me to do. And then Jessie has that same sort of existential crisis here, but then it was just such a nice touch of having that and be like, no, you literally inspired the name of what she would eventually call her,
and
her
like
daughter.
I can't
I was like, that's
that.
really
like,
nice.
There's parts of me that was like genuinely kind of water my eyes, or I was just like, it's so well done how they do it. And I guess I maybe I need to rewatch Toy Story 4. It's probably been a while since I've seen it, and I should definitely rewatch it. But I was quite happy with the emotional beats that were hitting in this film, and
for sure.
I have to say that I think so we talk about that horse scene. That horse scene was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing when Buzz got the most dramatic unicorn purple My Little Pony horse. I was like absolutely cracking up.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It was great, and I would say the weakest thing for me in this, oddly, was Woody, because he just felt like he was so unnecessary, and it really is it's a Indiana Jones in the temple or the thing. You could take him out, and the plot still happens. Yeah,
I mean, no. He does. He obviously helps out and like helps them do things, but at the same time, he does, like you say, he's there so Buzz has someone to interact with and go on the journey with. They funny
have that
because
good interactions that people expect.
And I think what that does, it does a little bit lessen the impact of the end of number 4 though, because it's a big deal that he's leaving the gang behind.
Yeah.
And then this one, he's like, I'll show up tomorrow, mate. I'll help you out tomorrow. I'll come round the house and I'll help you out.
He's probably not that far away. Toys can't go far. Though that electric hamster or whatever. Surely can't go far. So I do love the idea that he's probably just down the street. Like I love that concept. He's not actually far.
That big goodbye in number 4 wasn't that big then. If he's like, I can literally see you tomorrow morning. I'll be round to the house and help you out. And at the end of the film, he just kind of like once again like, right, see you later, mate. My job's done. Right, okay, catch you. And it was just like a weekend job for him, helping his mate do some DIY. It was just not really a big deal for him.
Who's Woody's partner? Bonnie.
Bo Peep.
And the fact that like Bo Peep was just like, okay, we're off, just call us when you're done helping out.
Yeah, it's like, call us again when you need help. I was like, what?
Where are
weird.
You? And I was like, where are you? It's like, you
I do think they didn't really have much. They just didn't. That was one bit of the narrative that was quite weak. Is Woody's involvement in the whole thing, in the sense that this isn't a big sacrifice for him, and also the ending of number 4 wasn't a big sacrifice for him.
Yeah.
He somehow has managed. I don't remember in Toy Story 4 him giving them the walkie-talkie to communicate with them.
I don't.
He must have done that at the end.
I don't either. But it's just a classic. It's like,
but
how is
the
it
fact
out there?
that
And it's like, oh, it's
yeah,
alright.
he's like, he can literally just rock up anytime he wants, so it's not really like he's
Yeah.
actually said goodbye. So it was, and they don't really give you any writing reason as for how easy it was for him to come back, or it was just there was no
Yeah.
reason. He's just there. But yeah. I guess we'll quickly jump into box office before we wrap up today. So it is, franchise best opening. Toy Story 4 previously, that opening weekend in 2019 opened to 120 million. Toy Story 5 has opened to 160 million in the US, so substantial increase over the last opening weekend. And worldwide, it's opened to $312 million. So huge hit. No surprise.
I was about to say, do you think we'll have? I think 2019 is the best year for film, in terms of money brought in.
Yeah, I think 2019 is it was massive.
Because also we had Star Wars and we had
and Endgame and Joker,
Spider-Man,
and Toy Story 4 and Spider-Man and Lion
that
King.
hit $1 billion as
well.
well.
I mean, those were all. The Lion King and Endgame were in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time.
I wonder if do you think we'll get? Do you think this could be like a top 5 year?
This will be a massive year.
I don't think we're gonna get top, but I think we can maybe get top 5 because obviously,
Spider-Man: The Odyssey are going to do bigger numbers. Doomsday and Dune are going to do big numbers.
Minions can obviously always brings in a fair chunk.
They always get close to $1 billion.
How much did Mario make?
That made $1 billion.
Did it make $1 billion? Right.
It made $1 billion. Michael is just shy of $1 billion just now.
I think this will be a big year, like numbers wise for film. Yeah,
I think I saw a thing saying this is the best year since 2019 for.
That's what I was
office.
thinking. That I was like, I don't think we'll hit 2019 numbers, but
no,
I think this may be one of the biggest years for it.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Toy Story 5 off to a fantastic start in, like I'm saying, opening weekend. It's made $312 million. So we'll track that. I'm sure it will break $1 billion.
I think it will. Do we think we'll see a Toy Story 6?
Now, I was going to ask you that question, Kel. I'm saying probably.
I say probably, but I'm at the stage now where, and I said this at Toy Story 3, and I said this at Toy Story 4, and I'm saying it again at Toy Story 5. I'm saying that we don't need another one, and that's because I really don't see what they could do now. I think, like I said, I felt the inclusion of tech was a good justification for a 5th film.
Yes.
I can't see what they're doing with a 6th film that's not going to rehash everything and just close it off.
Like you say, they were close to doing that if they went along that Buzz Lightyear army route. That would have just been a rehash of number 1.
And now I can't think what they're going to do if it's going to be like a Bonnie's growing up again, but then that's just Toy Story 3. But I do feel like I'm not... These kids' films don't need a huge conclusion. However, I feel like we need something because I feel like... Toy Story 4, like I said, was a good ending. It felt like an epilogue, but it was a good epilogue. And it felt like it was done. And now we've gone back a page, and they're like, right, I need that closure again.
Oh, you want a proper ending. You want this is the Star Wars Episode 6, you get your 6th film saga. And end this
6 films and a TV show. We'll do reverse.
They've had TV shows. They've had multiple TV specials.
To be fair, I think we have Lightyear.
And we have Lightyear.
Do you know more times that every time I see a Buzz Lightyear toy in the Toy Story, I go, a kid saw that Lightyear film and went, that's a good film. And I want the toy of that character.
What a weird thing that was, that Lightyear film.
It was the Chris Evans tweet that came after the announcement because he had to explain to everybody what it was.
Yes.
Which is,
it was
you know at that point it's not going well.
No. But anyway, I mean, there's huge gaps between Toy Story films. I think the smallest one was between Toy Story 1 and 2 was 4 years.
Sorry, I thought you meant we're going to get a prequel. I thought that was what you were suggesting. I was like, oh my god, we're going back in time.
And then obviously Toy Story 2 to Toy Story 3 was 11 years. And then Toy Story 3
That's the biggest gap, isn't it?
That was the biggest gap. Then Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4 was 9 years. And now it's been 7 years. So, I mean, sure, we can say there'll be a Toy Story 6. And we don't have to be proved right till like a decade's time, you know, to see if that actually comes to fruition.
I could be showing my child that, which is actually terrifying.
Exactly. You could show them. You could have all 5 of them on 4K, Kyle, and you can watch them all
I've got
together
Disney Plus for those sort of films. I'll give streaming that because you've seen my shelf list. I'm running out of space. Okay, and my bank account is also running out of space because
the Toy Story, a bunch of the earlier Pixar films and the Toy Story films would be Disney films I would get on physical media.
I would love.
I already have Toy Story on physical media.
I would actually love a box set, like a Pixar.
There's the 4. There's a Toy Story box set if you want that, but
yeah. Anyway,
let's wrap up there. So thank you, Kyle, for joining me.
You're very welcome as always.
Thank you. And next week, we will be talking about our mid-year check-ins, so our favourite films, and maybe some of our least favourite films of the year so far. What has taken our first place spots before, obviously, we have the remaining 6 months to go. But until then, we just gave our opinions on Toy Story 5, but at the end of the day, those were our unwanted opinions. Thank you very much.